Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be changing everything about your life. Well, I've got an email success story update, and this particular guy, he was the first person in the video that I did last year called Non-Action Spiritual Attraction. And he details that things are going really well with his girlfriend. They've celebrated their 10-month anniversary. And what's cool is he went through a very difficult time. He was in a very lucrative career, what he went to school for, spent a decade in the industry, and he had some things happen, which we'll get into in his email. Went through a really difficult time, did a lot of soul searching, and he's completely changed careers. And I thought it was a great success story because now he's got the situation with his girlfriend all straightened out. Things are going great with her, and he's made a complete radical shift in his professional career. And as I talk about in my book, How to Be a 3% Man, and for those of you that have not read it, I encourage you right now to go to understandingrelationships.com, my website, click on the free ebook, subscribe to the newsletter. You'll get a link in the mail or your email, and then you'll be able to read it for free. And if you're also inclined, you can get the Kindle or the iTunes version. And if you want to get the audio book version, you can actually get it for free if you do an Audible free trial. So I highly encourage you to do that because, like I said, what I talked about in the book is that as you become more successful in your personal life, and this also goes as well for your professional life, the more successful you become in multiple areas of your life, and especially as you start to overcome the challenges and the fears you may have had regarding your relationships with the opposite sex, you start noticing everything else in your life that's maybe not up to par. So if before you came across my work, your personal life was a 5 or a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10, and now it's an 8, a 9, or a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, your job that was like a 7 or an 8 back when your relationship was a 5 or a 6, your job tends to end up looking like it's only a 5 or 6. So what happens as you get better, you expand, you want to become more, you start looking at improving other areas of your life. And when you feel comfortable and you feel secure in your relationship, you naturally want to be better. You just feel safer to make changes. And you'll see this guy got his personal life in order, and then it ended up causing him to look at his professional life, and things are going great for him. So I have a quote that I wrote, and then we're going to go through his email and see what he did. Because I know many people, because at least half my clients, I'm doing some kind of career or business or entrepreneurship coaching, and the other half have to do with relationship or dating type problems. So the quote says, "Life has changed. The only constant that you can depend upon is that nothing is going to stay the same forever. What you love doing today for a living might become boring, dull, and monotonous in the future. The more you are willing to follow your heart and explore opportunities as they present themselves, the more life will seem to flow and progress naturally and effortlessly. The less you are willing to follow your heart, the more unpleasant, difficult, and challenging life will be. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, not a bunch of mindless meat bags who exist by accident or chance. Everything in life happens for a spiritual reason. If you don't believe that, then life and things that happen to you will never seem to make any sense or have any real purpose." I can't remember who said it. It was Einstein or somebody said, you got one fundamental choice to make in life. Do I live in a friendly or a hostile universe? And no matter what you believe, that's going to be your reality and your experience. What you tend to focus on in life, you're going to get more of that. So he says, "Hey Coach, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to give you an update since my last email, which you featured in your video, Non-Action Spiritual Attraction. And thank you for doing that, by the way." Well, you're welcome. Obviously, it must have been a great email. That's why I chose it. "Well, since then, things got really bad, then out of this world awesome. I had been working for an organization for the last 10 years in the field I had wanted to work in since I was a child, in which I went to school for. The last couple of years working there, however, things got bad. The work environment became incredibly toxic to the point that coworkers were having huge blowouts in the office, and our supervisor, whose office was next to ours, did nothing. There's a lot of people in positions of leadership and management that are fucking horrible leaders and managers. And unfortunately, all too often, especially when it comes to the government, they never leave. They just stay there forever. I started to become bitter and resentful. I hated who I was becoming, and I realized I was selling my soul and integrity for a paycheck. So he comes to a realization that he's getting up every day and he doesn't have the same internal enthusiasm for his job. Maybe it's just the company that he's working at and he should go and do something else, maybe making a lateral move or start looking for other companies to work for that have a better culture. Or maybe he just doesn't enjoy the work anymore. Because as you'll see in my next book, which should hopefully be out before the end of the year, I take everybody through the process that I went through. Because there's going to be times in your life you absolutely love what you're doing, and then a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, you're like, all right, what's the next challenge? Sometimes it's just changing employers because a different employer can offer you more opportunity for growth and to help you refine and improve your skills and learn things that you didn't know before. Because over the course of life, the more you acquire skills, the more you acquire knowledge, the more you develop your talents, the more value that you can personally add to any organization that you go to work for. And the more value that you can add, the more money and compensation that you can get. And the same thing if you decide to become an entrepreneur. It's all directly proportional to the amount of value that you add. I was making a disgusting amount of money, but what good was that if I had to betray my personal values and integrity for it? Yeah, it's like you get up every day and you feel that feeling, and the longer you tolerate it and put up with it, there's lots of people do that in the world. Lots of people that earn a lot of money, maybe they've got a family, they've got mortgages. It's not so easy just to pull the plug and quit and go do something else. And a lot of people, unfortunately, just stay that, and eventually their dreams die. And once your dreams die, you start to lose hope. And once you lose hope, you don't take care of yourself as much. You're not as inclined to work out or to eat healthy or as inclined to boot toxic people out of your life. Your life then becomes just a slow walk to the grave. And it's really sad when you see people that you know and you love and you care about, and they give up living. And they're just on that slow conveyor belt to their deathbed. It's really fucking sad. I no longer believed in what I did, and I knew I couldn't go on like this. Yeah, because the longer you ignore it, the more painful emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically that it actually becomes. How could I ever be a role model for my future children of what integrity is if I sell mine for a piece at a time each week? I was forced off work earlier this year for 6 weeks due to an injury. After about 3 weeks, I was on a date with my girlfriend, yes, the same one from the first video, and we just had our 10-month anniversary, and it's going great, thanks to you, coach. Well, thank yourself, dude, because you did the work. Maybe I just kind of showed you the way, showed you which doors to open, which landmines to avoid. Again, that all comes down to knowledge and experience. That's my knowledge and my expertise that I've learned the hard way, and from others that I've learned from that I can share with you, so you can avoid all that shit, so you don't have to go and figure out all this stuff on your own. I realized I had never felt so peaceful, optimistic, and well rested. So he's out of that toxic, negative environment. I knew it had been because I was away from my work environment, and at that moment, I knew what I had to do. I spent the last 8 years involved in volunteer crisis work, which I got into after losing my dad to suicide when I was 19. Well, that sucks, dude. When I was 19 years old, my mom flipped out, had a nervous breakdown, and developed, she was a psychotic schizophrenic, and she was never the same after that. And it really sucks when you love somebody and you care about them, but there's really not a lot you can do to help them. Especially when they don't think there's anything wrong with them, and they're always constantly taking themselves off their medication, and when they take themselves off their medication, they literally become crazy and dangerous to be around. His suicide sent me into a tailspin to the point that I lived in depression and anxiety for years. Eventually, with the help of a coach and a spiritual advisor, I was able to break free of this. So what had happened was you developed a story that you told yourself about what your father's suicide meant to you. The stories that we tell ourselves are what prevent most people from ever reaching their full potential. Because when you have a story and you convince yourself of it and you believe it, it doesn't matter what you experience in the outside world, you're just simply not going to accept it. Kind of like a lot of the people that still haven't accepted the fact that Trump is our president. I could just hear the, oh, I can't believe you. My crisis work was one of the most healing things I have ever done for myself, which I started doing after I got myself right emotionally. I actually did a video based on something that Tom Brady had talked about getting yourself right emotionally after you had a big loss. I think it might have been after that Cincinnati game, the famous "We're on to Cincinnati." It's a couple of years ago, I remember. This was a huge passion for me, helping people in the darkest moments of their lives. Well, that's the beauty of it, because you've been through it. You know what going through a really dark moment of your life because you lost your father to suicide. Just like all the difficult things that I've been through. It's like those wounds and those difficult challenges that you overcome. Once you overcome them and you figure a way out, then you can help others that are where you once used to be, which is basically what I do now for a living. I spent my whole life learning things and taking action and getting to the place where I have full control over my time and how I spend it. There's nothing more freeing than being able to spend your life in your own way. To work when you want to work, to play when you want to play, travel when you want to travel, hang out with people that you want to hang out with, when you want to hang out with them. Because most people in this world don't get to do that. They're a slave to their paycheck. I spent many nights on calls with people who had lost loved ones. Oftentimes, the deceased were younger people who had died from suicide, car crashes, or undiagnosed illnesses. Every call I attended made me appreciate life just a little bit more. Yeah, because no matter how bad you think you got in life, somebody has got it way more. I was watching a video the other day that I saw on my Twitter feed, because I follow a lot of people that are in the Middle East, and it was a video of ISIS members, and you could hear them snickering and laughing in the background as they were murdering civilians trying to flee. And I saw this woman, she's all wrapped up in her burqa, and she's leaving her family because the military told everybody to get out, and they're sitting there with a sniper rifle laughing and snickering and shooting one of them and waiting for other people to come to their aid, and just seeing the women wailing, and they tend to smack their heads and their chests, and then you see them drag the body of their mother or their sister, whoever it was, off, and these fucking savages are just laughing at it. It's just, so if you're watching this video, you're probably not sitting in Iraq or Syria having to endure shit like that. So no matter how bad you got it, there's always somebody that's got it worse. And when you hear stories like this and you see things, and it's one of the reasons why I read great success stories, and I also read really bad situations, because there's somebody that's going to be watching that particular video that's thinking they've got it really bad, and when they hear how somebody else had it really bad, worse than they have it right now, but yet they came through it okay, it gives them the courage that they can get through it as well. It's like we're all helping each other. I can't remember who said it. I don't know if it was an Edgar Casey. It might have been an Edgar Casey reading where he said, we get to heaven on the arms of those we've helped in life. Pretty powerful. I savored the good times just a little bit more. I soon realized that my mental health and my well-being were worth way more than what I was selling it for. I realized this year that life had taken a turn for me when I stopped focusing on adding value to the lives of others and instead became more selfish and self-centered. Well, as I've talked about before, in the 6 human needs, the 6th need is contribution. And when you focus on contributing to other people's lives, you actually fulfill all the other 5 needs of certainty, variety, significance, love and connection, and growth. As you help others, you grow yourself. So a few months ago, I quit my job and I sold my house. I was terrified, but I have also never felt so sure of what I had to do. I've done this at times in my life, and again, I'll go really into detail and in depth on this and how I got through the things I got through in my different career changes over the course of my life, but it's scary. I never recommend just upping and quitting your job, which I have done that in the past, because it's always better to make sure you got something lined up, especially if you don't have tons of money in the bank where you can survive for several years without having to work. But as long as you got the cash, I mean, if you're changing careers like this, doing something new, starting a new business, you got to think of the mindset of, I got to live like the broke college student. I've started my own coaching company that focuses partly on mental health, suicide prevention, awareness, and advocacy, as well as dating and relationships and coaching new grads and young professionals. Good for you, dude. Because you've done this. It's like before you can teach, you must know. In other words, once you've overcome things yourself, then you know a path that works to get there. And then you're qualified based on your life experience and your history to help other people. Just like how I'm able to teach stuff that I know, because I made a lot of fucking mistakes. I did a lot of fucking up, and I learned from them. Since quitting 4 months ago, I was recruited for a networking group, a public speaking group, and was offered to have my story featured in 2 separate books, one of which is an international bestseller. Dude. As soon as I started to take my life back into my hands, the doors started opening again. Well, when one door closes, another one opens. As David Data says in The Way of the Superior Man, you must be willing to change everything about your life. It's so true. Totally agree with that. I've experienced that myself. I did well enough in the sale of my home that I will be able to live for the next year, year and a half without full-time work. There you go. Now you can pick and choose your opportunities. But the ideal situation would be to get yourself into a position where you're earning enough income for your new line of work, or maybe working for other people, maybe you're doing consulting, so you're able to at least pay your bills so you're not eating that nest egg away. Because it'd be nice to be able to earn enough money instead of finding yourself in a situation a year and a half down the road where you've had all these great things happen, but you're not earning any revenue, and now you've eaten up all your money. And then you're in a situation where you have to go and get a job that you might not necessarily want to do. I do plan to do a ton of traveling, which is a huge passion of mine. I have several trips already booked and planned, and I am currently working on publishing a book, something I have always wanted to do, about a young man who has a breakdown and ends up on a spiritual journey. Well, think of that as your coaching manual that you will use to show other people the path. If you need to hire a ghostwriter, the best place I've found over the years for that is guru.com, guru.com. Put an outline, your project on there, and solicit bids and let people from all over the world bid on it. And then interview people, and whoever you connect with. I would say if it's a more spiritual book, you're going to want to hire somebody who's a more spiritually focused ghostwriter, like the guy from South Africa that's working on my next book. He's doing a great fucking job. I'm really happy with it. I will be incorporating some of my own life lessons into the book, of course. You should also start a YouTube channel and answer emails just like I do. And before you do your own website, start a blog on medium.com. And by the way, I think I've mentioned this a few videos ago that I have a medium.com profile now, so my assistant is posting all my articles there, about a week or so behind, but it's at Coach Corey Wayne. Medium.com/at Coach Corey Wayne. It'll take you right to it, and you can follow me there if you're on Medium. I think as of the beginning of this year, Medium had about 60 million people on it, which was double what they had a year ago. So if their same growth trajectory is continuing, they should be somewhere around 90 to 100 million. And when you get in those social platforms before everybody else does, and you start establishing your following, as it increases, you increase with it. Think of yourself as a content creator. You're going to create videos and you're going to create articles. And those articles and videos are going to be posted on your YouTube channel, your website, your Facebook fan page, your Medium profile. You're going to post it to Twitter, because people are going to consume your content how they want. And it's a great way to build a business. It takes a lot of grinding and a lot of years of work doing it. And especially in the beginning, a lot of people really ain't going to give a fuck and they're not going to pay attention. But you can kind of prime the pump by doing maybe a Facebook ad campaign or an Instagram ad campaign. If you've got the money, set yourself on a little budget, something even as like $5 a day. You just start out with $5 a day on a simple ad campaign for your Facebook business page or your fan page. You can market to those people and grow your audience a little quicker. Corey, I've never felt better in my life. There is so much uncertainty in my life right now, but I'm so grateful for it all because life right now is on my terms. Feels amazing. I think back to the boy I once was, scared of life, depressed, and anxious, and I cannot believe how far I have come. I can't wait to see how far I can take this journey. That's why you're going to be a great teacher, coach, and mentor. Part of my success is thanks to you, your coaching videos, and your incredibly generous and giving nature. I will always be grateful. Thank you, Coach. Well, thank you for being awesome, and thanks for all the lives you're going to impact with your life's work. Because now that you've done it yourself, you can help others. So, great job, dude. And for those of you that would like to get my help personally, you can go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book whichever coaching option works for you. And I will talk to you soon.